Well, hello, 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 everybody. How's everyone doing tonight? This is your boy Alvin, and welcome to another episode of He Said, He Said, He Said. A look at the world from a seasoned Black man's perspective. Uh, it is March the 18th, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, can you believe we are like nearly almost 3 months into the new year, and we are about to get some warm weather, and I cannot tell you how happy I am about that. But I hope everyone is doing well tonight, and you had a great week. Welcome to another episode of our show. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are calling this show "Let's Get Newsy." That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to talk about some of the headlines that are in the tabloids right now that some of us, I mean, literally, when we read them, it takes us on an emotional roller coaster. I mean, from Jussie Smollett to the Don't Say Gay bill to, I mean, we've had a person who has been killing homeless people, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, we all know about what's going on in Ukraine. How you doing, Blue? Thanks for joining us tonight. How you doing, Philip? Thanks for joining us tonight. Monica, how you doing? Please say hello to Oscar for me. Let him know that I know that he's in the room as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not going to belabor this because we got a full show for you. And I've actually missed this guy this week. We haven't talked. So please welcome to our He Said stage tonight. My co-host, Mr. Vosh Bodie, please.
Hey, Alvin.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm going to use your term. I've been bobbing and weaving all week.
It has been, It has been that kind of week, hasn't it?
That kind of week, Bob. But here we are, another Friday, right before our eyes, and we're going to get newsy with the people tonight.
Yes, we are, because we're right where we're supposed to be, right here together on air. Hey, everybody.
Hey, guys. And look, when we talk about, now we picked our favorite scoops of the week. Hey, Sean, how you doing? We've picked our favorite scoops, and we want to hear from you because, a lot of what we've been seeing, Vosh, we've been or hearing on the news, we haven't given it the he said spin on
treatment. Exactly.
So we're going to do that for you guys tonight. But before we get started, I don't know if you've heard about everything that's been going on with this daylight saving time, Bosch. Have you, they're trying to make it permanent, daylight saving time?
I am happy to hear that because really, when clocks shifted the day after on Monday, I realized that I'm not voting for another political candidate who is not pushing to end daylight savings time.
Well, even though it didn't occur to me back in the 70s, but they tried to do it in the 70s during the Nixon era. Okay. And in December, actually, I guess when Nixon was reelected, if you will, Congress passed a bill because they wanted to have daylight savings time all the time. So on January the 6th, 1974, does that date sound familiar to any Republicans out there? January the 6th, Nixon signed it into, made it a bill or made it law. And when they did it, I mean, people were, as you would have expected, people were getting up in the morning and it was dark. And I mean, kids were getting hit going to school. Oh. People were getting robbed and all of that. And, they did, there were some pros that people were saying that, the accidents in the morning darkness, may become more common. But the longer daylight hours meant that it would eliminate hazards of evening commutes, stress, anxiety, and even people drinking. So, there was, some push back and forth on it. But the fact that people got killed, it was a bigger issue than just making our days longer so that we could have more sunlight. it was a bigger issue than that.
Wow, that is remarkable to hear because I had never heard about that.
Yes, I said, and the fact that it was during the Nixon era when he did it, and because of Watergate, he got wrapped up in that. So his approval rating started to drop. So everybody who wanted him to do it started disliking him, and they were like, "Okay, you're messing up our time. Kids are getting hit, people getting robbed, all about this daylight saving time thing." And what's his name?
You crooked.
Say that again.
And you crooked. You doing
and crooked. And crooked. So after he did that, though, President Ford came in October, and in October 5th, and he signed a new law and put it back.
Wow. Okay. Well, there are so many things to sort of unpack in that. One, the fact that people were like not being able to see while driving and running over children is kind of crazy, and taking advantage of the darkness to rob people. Craziness.
Right. I mean, it was happening. Hey, Rose and Philip said, one of the WNBA player locked up in Russia for the past month. We're going to talk about that, Philip. Thank you for bringing that up, Philip. And Blue said time changes messes with the body's natural rhythm. Yeah, but I'm 61, so my rhythm has been. If that's the case, I've had a pretty messed up rhythm for over 15 years, but I'm still here to talk about it. How you doing, Scott?
And hey, Randy. I mean, but that did really mess up my rhythm. Like it really did. I didn't expect it to affect me the way that it did. Yeah. But people are just gonna have to get used to it just being lighter or darker at certain points of the time, as opposed to shifting the time thing. It's just, we're the only country who does it, aren't we?
I think so. Now, don't get me wrong in all that I just said. Sure. I love the sunlight. I would love it, but I do know that there are some pros and cons. And because I don't have to go to work. Hopefully my employers didn't hear that. I don't have to go to work. You know what I'm saying? It's not a big issue for me. But yeah, there have been times when I would, would go to work during daylight saving time, because I go to work, very early in the morning, and it would be dark and it would be kind of creepy. But I can see why it would be a problem. I can see that.
I still want to get rid of it. We just have to adapt to the time, adapt to the light, because this is so much better. It's a little after 7:00 and it's still light here on our side of the
Well,
planet.
I agree. The sunlight does agree with you, because you look stunning tonight. So
thank you very much. It is some natural light.
You're giving me that glow. And another thing that I wanted to also just share with our viewers, please don't get comfortable with taking off your mask and thinking that COVID is not going to creep back up and catch you, because it is growing. The numbers are growing in China, and the numbers are growing in the UK. And if you think back 2 years, it was China that had all the cases before we got them. So please be careful. Please be careful. Don't let your guards down. Don't let your guards down. Don't.
Because it's crazy being out. I'm saying crazy a lot tonight, but it's kind of wild being out and just seeing people's faces, because people have dropped that mask thing faster than, a hot potato.
Well,
I'm sorry. Kim dropped Kanye.
See, we pushing the envelope. Okay. You're pushing the envelope. Did we say? Oh, you did. You did say hi to Randy. Randy, thank you for joining us tonight. So if you're ready, we have put these in the forms of scoops, ladies and gentlemen, because we have 8 scoops that we want you to weigh in on, that we feel in the news, and we want to give it the he said spin. So please join us, ladies and gentlemen. So tonight our first scoop is about, we talked about it last week, the Don't Say Gay bill. We kind of touched on it. The measure bans classroom instructions by school personnel or third parties on sexual orientation or gender identity in kindergarten through the 3rd grade. It also prohibits teaching in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students, which critics say can be interpreted to extend to all grade levels. Parents can sue the school districts if they do it. And this is in Florida right now.
Right.
This is in Florida. This is in Florida. And Ron DeSantis, or DeSantis, did I call him Ron? I don't know why I called him Ron. I don't even know his first name. I just call him DeSantis.
It is Ron DeSantis.
Okay, the bill is going into effect on July the 1st, 2022. So
wow. Yeah. And it's going to be a cookie cutter. I mean, this is what's happening with their playbook. They get something passed in one state and then they just cookie cutter it across to other states.
Yeah, but the question that comes up for me that I want to ask is, first of all, let me just say that I think with all the suicides that we've been seeing about kids struggling with their identity, especially in the LGBTQI. I mean, come on, they are committing suicide. The suicide rates are up. And when something like this could really, really put that issue at the forefront, because parents and kids they're going to go through it no matter what. There's going to be a lot of abuse behind this. I just don't see this as a good thing to do for kids who are struggling or dealing with or coming to terms with whatever term you want to use with their identity. So I don't see it as a positive thing.
I agree. And although the bill is really starting with a certain age range, basically 0 to 3rd grade, there's the opportunity for it to grow and expand to include more grades. And I just would like to point out, this bill is about discrimination. I don't care how anyone tries to spin it, and anyone who's talking to kids about sex and gender kinds of things, they're doing it already. Do you know what I mean? As we prepared for this show, I decided to look up, asking kids about having boyfriends and girlfriends and doing things. And not Jimmy Kimmel, who's the other guy?
You mean Jimmy Kimmel, and then there's the guy from Saturday Night Live. Why am I having a brain?
Anyway, on one of these late night shows, they did a sketch called Kindergarten, where they asked 5-year-olds and about whether or not they have boyfriends or girlfriends, and then tried to hook them up using a spoof on Tinder, right? So here we have people talking to kids in the age range that this Don't Say Gay bill is trying to protect, talking about, thank you, Fallon, but it was actually Jimmy Kimmel, now that I think about it, because it wasn't Jimmy Fallon, but it was Jimmy, talking to kids about the same thing that this bill is trying to prevent parents from talking about or teachers from talking about. But it's not just talking about sex and sexuality. It's about talking about a particular sex and sexuality. And that's just completely discrimination.
Well,
do you know what I mean? Like if I talk to you about your kid about, does your boy child have a girlfriend? No one's questioning that.
Right.
It's if you were to ask someone's boy child if they have a boyfriend, that people would go up in arms in. And that is a violation of equal protection.
Yeah, it's wrong. And like last week, I couldn't even really comment on it, because it makes me angry. And when I think about it, the education secretary, Miguel Cardona, he has condemned the bill. And my question to him is, what are you going to do about it? What are you, I love Biden, but I think a lot of people who are in the Biden camp, they're talking about what they're going to do. They stick their chests out and they want to say what's not good and what's not right. But where's the action behind that?
Where's the action?
And Cardona has gone on record to say that the leaders in Florida are prioritizing hateful bills that hurt some of the students most in need. And so if you know this, then why don't you do something about it? And he's even gone on to say that they have violated a civil rights law, Title 11? protection against discrimination based on sexual
protection.
orientation.
Yeah.
So if you know that they've done that,
Mm-hmm.
you're the secretary. Fix it. Shut it down. What I don't know what the problem is in making it stop.
Well, what usually happens is something goes in, it's put into law, there's a challenge to it legally that puts a stay on it, and then it's challenged through the court systems as opposed to a mandate that gets rid of it. So although it's supposed to go into effect, it'll be challenged because it is clearly discriminatory. It's clearly discriminatory. Because again, we have examples. I pulled up an example of Steve Harvey talking to a kid on his show asking about his girlfriend. I mean, there's just, it's clear that it's discriminatory. And, we're going to hopefully see it go away. Well, I'm glad we're up in arms about it.
I'm glad we're talking about it. Yeah. And you're getting kudos. Thank you guys. Blue said you're correct, Vash.
Thanks, Blue, because you don't always agree with me.
So we're going to move to our next scoop, which is really one of the biggest topics, and that's the war in Ukraine and what Russia is doing to Ukraine. But what we want to talk about is the racism in Ukraine. And after the show last week, we were having like some after talk after the show. And I said to Vash and our guest who was on the show, I said, I've been looking at coverage of the war in Ukraine, and I haven't seen any Black people. I said, are there Black people in Ukraine? And I didn't mean to sound so ignorant if I do, but that's not what I was seeing on TV. And they both said, oh, buddy, oh, you haven't heard? And I started doing my homework. And I found out that the humanitarian crisis in Ukraine has put a spotlight on alleged racism. And the concern is that immigrants from Africa and other people of color who call Ukraine home, as millions flee Ukraine, there are accusations of discrimination toward these refugees.
Well, because some of them aren't even refugees yet, right? Like they're facing discrimination as they're trying to flee the country that they've paid to be in, whether because they're going to school, et cetera. Mm-hmm. They're not even allowed to then become refugees to cross into other countries to be accepted. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Ukraine is saying, hey, you can come and spend your money here and go to our school, et cetera. But when, the ish hits the fan, you going to stay here and wait until we get rid of our people.
Well, and that's some of what, as you all opened my eyes to it last week, and I start pulling all these YouTube clips, and, I was out to dinner on Wednesday, and, someone else brought that up to me, like, oh, you haven't seen it. And I was literally like, I have not seen it. So why isn't the news, the media reporting on this? Why is there not more coverage? Is it because nothing that they, can do, or it's not important? But people are definitely being discriminated against. You have people who said that they have gone to the train station and they won't let them in.
Right.
And have told them, you're not like us.
Right. Now, I have a question. So what obligation does a country have to people who are not its citizens?
All I can say, to be serious about it, I live in America, and I have to ask that question. Okay, that is a question that I have to ask here. So where America seems to feel like they have an obligation to people from other countries,
right?
But
I would think that we would treat everyone the same. I would like to think that. I would like to think that another country would say, hey, this is an emergency. We are trying to evacuate people. There wouldn't be this separation of prioritizing people who look all the same, who are just their citizens and just leave other people behind, to
Well,
die.
that, in theory, that would be a wonderful thing. I think that would be true. But even in this case, where they're saying like the men who were between, I think, ages 18 to 61 or 60, that they had to stay, but the women could go. So to not even let the Black women or women of color leave, or women not to even let them go,
right,
that is disheartening on its own.
right.
And I just want to know, why is that not more in the news? That is very important, and it's just not.
I think that it would highlight the fact that racism exists all over the place, and it would add further credibility to the claims that people of color in this country say and highlight. Then it's undeniable. But if they don't mention it over there, the support for Ukraine stays the same. It stays high. They get to brush discrimination under the rug here. It serves a purpose. But it's, I don't like it.
We got some folks. Let me see. Blue said, Blue is quite vocal tonight. Go ahead, Blue. Blue said, he said, so true, but that's another country. And we's have very little. Okay. Scott says the separation happens daily here in America. Amen. Yeah. Okay. True that. Randy says, I believe that would happen here as well if we tried to migrate to Canada.
Ooh, that's a very interesting.
Speak, Randy. Speak. See, yeah, it's something to think about why it's happening there. So,
my question to Randy, does he think that it would be an issue that the Americans would not be allowed, that the Americans would prevent people of color from going into Canada, or that Canada would prevent us from going in? Because there's the two issues. The reason why I separated the refugee comment earlier, Alvin, was because Ukraine is preventing people from getting on trains to try to get into these other countries. And then the other countries, like Poland especially, is saying, hey, we don't even want y'all. So there's that double edge. So that's why I want to know, does he think it's going to be both, that Canada would just say, no, don't come in, or that the United States wouldn't let us come in?
So yeah, Randy, please, if you get, it's a slight delay, but please, if you can answer Vash's question and want to weigh in, please do so. And we will definitely get to it. Scott says the issue would be our accessibility to leave America. And Randy says Canada will prevent us from entering. Now,
interesting.
Blue said, why isn't the U.S. involved in other fighting countries where the country is non-white? Wow. Did I get speechless? I don't know the answer to that, but that is a very good question. Okay, that is a very good question. And while we're talking, we talked about the basketball player who is, and I'm sorry, I don't have her name, but there's a WNBA basketball player who is actually, she went on trial for when she was trying to leave the country. She had some type of oils, with CBD oils, and they've locked her up, and she cannot get back over here. And again, she went to trial this week. And my thing with that, I mean, I don't want to be judgmental. I don't know the full stories behind what happened, but the last thing I would have been trying to grab if I was leaving the country is my CBD oil. Okay, I don't know the story, but her name is Brittany Griner. Thank you, Sean. Thank you. I when I heard that, the first thing I thought was, wow, they're blowing up your building.
It would probably be one of the things that I would reach for if because there are certain qualities and properties that would be useful in that situation, to be perfectly honest. And I would not think that it would be a problem. I mean, clearly she got it there. So I would, I'm bummed by this case. I'm bummed by this Totally.
I'm bummed by it too. You know,
And
I wish that she would not have been in that situation, but she is, and chances are the next case is not even coming up for her until May.
And she was leaving Russia, not Ukraine. So she was in the bombing situation.
Right. She was
so
leaving
she wasn't
Russia.
in crisis. She was
Okay.
just migrating. So I would not have, wouldn't have been a problem. Like, let me grab my thing. Let me, it's medicinal.
I'm going to say okay. And we're going to move on. We're going to move on. Let me see. Randy says, I think this is still pertaining to his comment about Canada. Randy said, as well as the good old boys stopping us from leaving. And I'm just going to say, I've gone to Canada. They can stop me all they want. I love Canada and they love me. And I don't think I'm going to have a problem. And Scott says, I don't know the entire story, but the strict laws in Russia are widely known. We have seen a few American citizens get jailed in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, clearly. I wouldn't want anybody in that situation that she's in. But again, I'm going to say, if I decided to leave, I am not going to take any marijuana or anything like that. Not that I smoke marijuana, don't get me wrong, or anything like that. But I'm just saying I would not take that on the plane. I would not try to get that on the plane. And Roscoe says the double-edged sword, she is a high value hostage. Absolutely. Yes, she
her
is.
timing is really bad.
Yeah.
For this,
Very bad.
Because
So
I'm sending her a lot of love.
Brittany. Pray for Brittany. Send some love for Brittany. We wish you come home. Okay. Let me see. And Blue, we're going to get to your comment. You said we have always heard, don't do wrong because we can't help you. Don't do wrong because we can't help you. Not sure what you meant by that, but I'm not going to touch it right now because it could go just all over the place. I'm not going to do it on this show. but thank you very much. So we're going to jump on to scoop number 3, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who have not heard, about 2 weeks ago, there was someone running around in DC, between DC and New York, killing homeless people. There was somebody actually targeting homeless people, shooting them, burning them up, killing them. And this person was going between DC and New York to do it. Mm-hmm. So this is the gentleman right here. His name is Gerald Brevard III. He is or lives in Washington, D.C. He was in St. Elizabeth Hospital years ago. If you can see the picture, they clearly, got his picture and all of that. He has a criminal record that dates back to 2013, according to court records. He has dozens of charges that show that this 30-year-old was arrested or cited for drug possession, traffic violations, theft, assault, and burglary. So my question is, and just in 2020, okay, ladies and gentlemen, the Commonwealth Attorney of Fairfax, he was charged in 2020, arrested for an abduction with intent to defile. And he was charged in Fairfax County. But they let him go because of a plea deal. And he's out on the street doing what he's doing. So my question is, did the system fail him?
Did the system fail everybody? Because, they're dead people.
Everybody.
Well,
everybody.
Blue says the system failed him.
What was the first thing that came up? Yeah, I did say that he was in St. Elizabeth at some time. St. Elizabeth Hospital is a hospital here in DC for that largely deals with people who have mental illnesses.
Right.
So
yeah, that's an issue. Something has happened and someone got through that should not have gotten through.
Several times. But there's a lot of going back and forth now with the Fairfax County, with the prosecutor and the new. There's a new a high official in Fairfax County in Virginia, and they are arguing and going back and forth and doing the blame game. But at this point in time, this person has shot 5 people. 2 of them have been killed. Yeah, one of them he shot so bad he's still living, but he shot him in the face. And so, you're targeting people who, don't even, their quality of life is already challenged, and here you are making it worse. I think this is one of the worst stories that I can talk about because I think the system failed him.
It's a drag. It is a drag that he was let out and allowed to do these things, and it was not, more importantly, not getting the help that he needed to be able to,
at all
live a better life for himself. And now he's going to be in jail.
Well, where he should have been, at least, or let me practice some sensitivity here tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, let's give it.
Let me give it, because mental illness is real.
It's real.
He should not have been on the street. He should have been, somebody should have been watching him. Something else should have been done that was different from him being on the street and getting a gun. And how do you get to New York? I mean, he would, what was he driving? What did he catch the bus? All of those things play in my mind to someone who has mental illness. I mean, what was he doing? How was he doing all this?
Where $1 megabus. You can catch the megabus for $1. You get your ticket early enough.
Like premeditated is what I'm saying. So It was premeditated. So that was a very ugly story this week, ladies and gentlemen, that is really crazy. But he has been caught. And hopefully he will not do those kind of things again. But since we're talking about a system that failed, I'm sorry, Vosh, were you going to say something? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I appreciate the fact that that someone thought that maybe he was okay to come out, and I just hope that in cracking down on people who need mental wellness help, that someone else isn't kept in a situation where they should not be because of this situation. So I'm just sending love all around, that we just get people the help they need.
Yeah. And Randy said he's a man of color. Care for him is not a priority. And
Randy's giving us knowledge today.
I gotta agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Well, since we're talking about a failed system, I asked Vosh, could I bring this scoop up, because I want to keep this sister's name in our faces and on my lips. Breonna Taylor, ladies and gentlemen, as many of you know, in 2020, as a result of a botched raid on her house, she was shot. 10 rounds were shot into her apartment through a glass door and window after an attempt to carry out a search warrant went wrong. And a police officer, there was only one police officer, Brett Hankinson, was charged after a grand jury found that he endangered Breonna Taylor's neighbors when he fired his service weapon blindly into her apartment during that March 20 botched narcotics raid. Now, he was acquitted, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. He was acquitted. And the trial wasn't even about Breonna Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
This, yes, has touched me because it could happen to any of us. And I don't know what the outcome will be, whether the fight is there, but I want to say from my lips to our viewers, to Vosh, to everybody on this show, Breonna Taylor's name should never leave our lips. Because if you've ever seen anything that was just handled inappropriately and justice not being served, it was this case.
Yeah. Yeah. And what happened to her boyfriend?
I haven't done any research to see where he is, to be honest with you.
Because he is another, casualty of this all.
Right. Right.
You know?
Right. I think the last, and this was probably, I'm going to say last year, 21. I feel like because of COVID, I've lost 2 years.
Yes.
I know that he had a case against the officers as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where that case stands, and maybe as a follow-up at some time during another show, we can definitely talk about that. I'd like to do that with you. I definitely like to do that.
Yeah, because I'd like to know what's going on with him.
Yeah.
Blue says charges were dropped against him, so he should be out and free.
The officer, he's still an officer.
No, the boyfriend.
Oh, the boyfriend. Okay,
boyfriend, because he was originally charged for firing back.
Yeah.
But his charges were dropped.
Blue said that the charges were dropped. Yes.
Yeah. But very sad. Thank you for bringing this one up, because we should be talking about her.
Still should be talking about her. And, you know, I'm just on a little sidebar. I have a T-shirt upstairs that when George Floyd got killed, I started writing every Black person that was murdered by the police on this shirt. And I won't wash the shirt. I just keep writing their names on the shirt. Wow. And the front of the shirt is almost filled. I'm going to wear it on the show one time when it's appropriate, and we do a show like that. But yeah, Breonna Taylor's name is front and center. So keep saying her name, ladies and gentlemen. On another note of, you know, what do you call it? Justice. This week, 3 former Minneapolis police officers that were convicted of federal civil rights violations for the death of George Floyd. Ex-officer Tao Thao, J. Alexander Kug, they were both convicted, and Thomas Lane, they were all convicted. Now, Tao was convicted of 2 offenses. One of them, he was found to have deprived Mr. Floyd of his constitutional rights to be free from a police officer's deliberate indifference. And the other, charge against him was that he deprived Mr. Floyd of his constitutional right to be free from an officer's unreasonable force when each willfully failed to intervene. I want to see more done to them, to be honest with you. I know that one of them, can we put their pictures back up? I'm not sure if he's a person of color. I'm not sure. I don't know. This is, I think this is, what's his name? Officer Thomas Lane. I don't know if he's a person of color or not, but a hate crime.
He does look, he looks ambiguously ethnic, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He does, at least in this picture. So I think that, yes, thank you. Justice was served, but was justice served enough? I'm not sure. But I wanted to also, and Bosch and I also wanted to talk about this case, because these are cases that we should be thinking about as we push the Biden administration to pass some of the George Floyd law that is still sitting on someone's desk somewhere unsigned. Okay, these are reasons why we need to, you know, keep this conversation in the air, on the table, and coming out of our mouths. So,
because it is a flagship case that shows that everything that people have been saying all along happened. It happens. So yeah.
Okay, y'all.
Another good story. Thanks for bringing that one up. That's good.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, y'all. So, it's not funny, but we're going to talk about Jussie in jail. Okay, Jussie Smollett, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Jussie Smollett, the ex-actor of the show Empire. As you know, he was released from jail actually on Wednesday night after an Illinois appeals court granted him emergency motion by his defense attorneys. Smollett's legal team is looking to delay the sentence and grant him bond until their appeal on his conviction is decided. Okay.
This has me all over the place. It does.
Okay, I'm gonna say ready, set, go. You go. You go ahead.
One, when he was getting sentenced, the way that the judge spoke to him was so deep that at a certain point, I really felt like I wanted to sort of defend Jussie. Not saying that I believe him. I do believe that it was fabricated. The judge went in on him, and that was harsh.
The judge did. And I want to ask our viewers, for those of you who are watching, do you think, just say it, just type it. Do you think Jussie's story was fabricated? I just want to, just for those who we can see on here, just by either type fabricated or yes or no. Okay, so
I believe Jussie.
But while you're doing that, if I should so may, I want to read what the Cook County Judge James Lynn said to Jussie.
Okay.
Because I don't know, like you, if it was because he was white that it hit me like that, but there was a part of me that said, this is how you tell someone that your stuff don't stink. And my mama would say something else, okay, that your stuff don't stink. He reprimanded the actor and gave him 150 days in jail and 30 months probation following a conviction for 5 counts of disorderly conduct by lying to police about the staged hate crime. And this is what he said. You turn your life upside down by your misconduct and shenanigans. That's a term we use in the culture here a lot. The judge stated, there's nothing that any sentencing judge could do to you that would compare to the damage you've already done to yourself. He went on to say, your upbringing, describing his family as one that stood for social justice, stating the actor grew up knowing to be sensitive to matters about racial discrimination, any kind of discrimination, any kind of social injustice. He said, for you to now sit here convicted of hosting hate crimes, racial hate crimes, and homophobic hate crimes, the hypocrisy is just astounding. So why did the hoax happen, Lynn asked, saying it in his own question on everybody's mind. You knew this was a country that was slowly trying to heal past injustices and current injustices and trying to make a better future for each other, he said. And it was a hard road. You took some scabs off some healing wounds and you ripped them apart for one reason. You wanted to make yourself more famous, and for a while it worked. You know, when the judge said, okay, we got some people who said, okay, they said yes, they thought that, yes. Scott said yes, Monica said bizarre. Oh, that was quite political, Monica. Yeah, bizarre. Yeah, okay. Randy said yes. Scott, what did Scott say here? Scott said, as my grandmother would say, stop him when he's lying.
When he's lying. Look, everything he said, I mean, I was like, okay now. Okay. But I couldn't stop him. I could not stop him.
Yeah, that was really sad. Not going to spend too much time on that. I just remember the moment that he said it. I was like, or that it came up. I just thought I had a whole bunch of mixed emotions. Like, okay, this is just in now. Just tell the truth and save face and move on. But he didn't do that. Wow. But okay, justice for Jussie. All right. So I guess from one star to another, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about Miss Kim Kardashian for advising women to get off their asses and work. I could say that one time on the show. I could say it one time. So okay, that was my one time. Okay. Twitter ate Kim Kardashian up for saying that she was actually at an event for women in business, and she was with her sisters and her mom and everybody, and she said, I have the best advice for women in business. get your effing ASS up and work. It seems like nobody wants to work these days. And her sister, Kourtney Kardashian, pretty much agreed with her.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry. And you know what? I'm just going to double back because Jason Stonewall said free. Not, you didn't say free Miss Jussie. Stop it. Okay. Stop it. Oh, I'm not going to do it. But yeah.
Alvin, we can't hear you. I guess that is Jussie coming up and telling you that yes, he is Miss Jussie. Nope, I can't hear you. You must have hit the mute button or something. All right, you're going to go away and come back? All right, right on. Well, we will keep the conversation going about Miss Kourtney and Kim Kardashian, because they truly, what I loved about what they did was not only did they say get up and go to work, they also said that people need to be in environments that are not toxic so they can work. Now, that was kind of funny to look at two sisters who sat there and slapped each other in their non-toxic work environment that was created by them not really doing anything. Actually, I think that was created by Kim lying on her back, if I might be just so bold to say. So it seemed a little disingenuous for her to stand there and tell everybody the way to success is to just get up and go to work. And not only Twitter, you back? Because it was not only Twitter. Nope, not yet. Not just Twitter went off on her, but also the women of The View, like anybody and everybody who had any common sense was telling this woman that she needs to just take her advice and go somewhere, because nobody needs to listen for work ethic advice from someone who comes from a place of privilege. So she had an opportunity to do what she was doing because her mother exploited what she did when no one shouldn't have been watching in the first place. So Blue says that she was saying lie on your back. Maybe that's what she meant when she said get to work, because it worked for her. You know, so glad you guys all are seeing it and appreciating it. No, but I think you may have yourself muted, because if you're working without your headset or microphones, hey, Dale. We're doing all right, unless that was not for us, Dale. But welcome to the show. Good to see you. All right. Well, Alvin's going to work that out. If anyone else, Roscoe says, let them both switch places with a regular working mom, working all day, raising their own kids, and living on the other woman's pay. Look, someone else said that as well. I think that was one of the things on The View where someone said, look, if she thinks that's what it's all about, getting up and go to work, let's let her do that on someone who's making average pay. It's not about getting up and go to work. You know, it's not about that. It's always a drag when people try to bring it down to people not working. Didn't people try to do that back when Jesse Jackson was running for president, and he had to get up and say, people go to work every day. They go to work every day. Anyway, I personally think that Kim was trying to promote a new show, and that this was an opportunity to get into the limelight, because there's no reason that she could possibly say anything like that and have us think that she was serious, especially when she started talking about a non-toxic work environment. Thanks, Blue. Blue said Alvin just went silent. He needs a tech help desk. Well, someone reach out and help him, because, you know, we miss you, Alvin. So I don't want to go to this last story until we give you an opportunity to try to come back in, Alvin. So, because the last one is the one I think y'all all been waiting for us to start talking about, which is Kanye West. So let's give Alvin another moment, and then we'll all come back and see what's happening. But just to warm you up, if you have something to say about Kanye, you might as well start talking about it right now, because we probably know that something has changed, because I think his ban from Instagram, which happened for 24 hours, I think that might be up. So he might be back in, going in on other people again, because his list of people that he's going after has grown. It's not just Kim. It's not just Pete. It's not even just DL Hughley. He's going after other folks. Sean, you said didn't know Kim Kardashian was the hardest working woman in the world. I guess she may think that she is. And, to her credit, she does do a lot. There's a television show, there's a makeup line, there are appearances, there are fashion shows, but, she's clearly out of touch with women around the world trying to survive with what she said. Y'all are going to town in the comments, and I love it, because y'all are talking to each other as much as you are talking to us, and we love to see it. So, Alvin, I'm going to start talking about Kanye, just because I would not want us to run out of time talking about him on this particular episode, where we are talking about the things that have stopped us in our tracks as we've been watching them. And, it's nice to know that the world is beginning to catch up to what we started talking about, because we started talking about this particular issue back at the end of February, during the Master's Plan, when Dwayne was on the show. We talked about the fact that Kanye was out of control, and we were just sort of watching it, not saying anything about the toxicity of it, but the world has shifted that. So for those of you, if you have not been following it, DL Hughley finally stepped up and started talking about how what Kanye was doing was not only offensive, it was dangerous, it was borderline, showing signs of serious mental unwellness. And he said that if it was his daughter, he would have already stepped in and done something already. Well, clearly, Kanye did not take too well to that, and actually threatened DL Hughley. Actually, he didn't threaten him personally. He said he was going to have his goons go out, and he actually put up DL Hughley's address, which was completely uncool. DL Hughley responded. He absolutely responded. And it went back and forth. So Randy, you were saying what? Another man where the system has failed him? We know he has mental health issues, but yet nothing is being done. That's 100% true. And it's not just the system. It's the people around him who are not stepping up and really, really pulling him in. Would you say, Dale, Kanye needs to stop going at people? Yeah, he really, really, truly does. Well, I think he's going after some of the right people these days, because DL Hughley made it very clear. And I'm not sure if you all are aware, but we can hear you now, Alvin.
Can you all hear me? I am so sorry, Vaj. I'm so sorry, everybody. Oh my God! But I was listening. I have no idea what happened. So, but you were holding it down with that Kim Kardashian thing. Okay, I heard it. I heard it. Sorry about that, guys. It's a live show. I thought the UPS man was going to come and interrupt me. I didn't think my sound was going to go out.
Well, there you have it.
But go ahead, Vosh. You were finishing your thought.
Well, we had already jumped to Kanye and DL Hughley, and I was explaining how DL, what he did was Kanye threatened DL with his people.
Right.
DL has people who know Kanye's people, so he got in touch with them and told them, before you know it, he and Kanye were talking. And he told Kanye, basically, what you're doing is wrong. Don't come after me. What you did was absolutely out of control. And if you did want to come after me, you should have come after me instead of threatening to send people. Anyway, they kind of hashed it out a little bit, to the point where Kanye's statement was, hey, I think we might be friends or could possibly be friends. But DL is still saying, look, you were out of control and you were wrong.
The thing is, well, DL sent out an email, another tweet today. But here's the thing that's really getting me about Kanye. First of all, he's putting all this stuff, it's a tweet, so it's going to live there. So should you threatening people. All of this is coming about how this man is going after a woman, a female, basically in trying to intimidate her. And it's on that level alone, there is an issue that needs to be discussed. Okay. On that issue, no, I am beyond everybody talking about his mental state right now. You are threatening people. You are doing it in a way that if someone wants to take you to jail or scream, you are harassing me or whatever, he is not above the law, is what I'm saying. He may think he's above the law, but he is not above the law. And absolutely. I just think that DL Hughley, I don't think they're not going to be, in my opinion, I don't think that they're going to clear the air on this because too many people are weighing on this. I'm not saying that they're influenced by other people, but Kanye West is saying some pretty damaging and hurtful things. And all of this is because he is coming against a woman. If she wasn't rich and famous, there's a lot of women who are out here being abused by men. He's doing the same thing.
Well, that's what Trevor Noah went in on, who was saying that he grew up in a situation where his mother was always being questioned, like, well, what did you do? Did you talk back? Did you do this? Are you doing that? And he's like, look, we have to stop questioning women when things are happening to them and question the things that are happening to them. Right. It's a complete shift in terms of where we are putting our focus. And, Kanye went off on him. That's what caused him to get suspended from Instagram.
From Instagram. Right. Exactly.
And I'm not sure, did you hear that Charlemagne the God sort of insinuated that after a conversation he had with Kanye, that he believes that the reason why Kanye has an issue with Pete is because of Pete's endowment.
Well, Pete has made it quite clear that his endowment is keeping his ex-wife happy. Pete has not been quiet on that these days, and that's another whole topic. You know what I'm saying? Pete Davidson has also came against him, and that started out nice in a way too. But how can it start out nice when you're telling somebody, hey, dude, we should cool it. I'm screwing your wife, your ex-wife. I mean, how there's nothing that can be mellow about that, especially with a person like Kanye. So, but all this is because of him trying to harass and intimidate a woman. And Kim, you got off good because I was going to say some things about you in that comment, but I didn't get a chance. So the guard said take him off of speaker, and so that's what it was. So
that is possibly. I mean, if we ever have to question whether or not there's divine intervention, it has happened tonight.
It has happened tonight.
And Kim Kardashian should be thanking her lucky stars because you were going to go in on her. I tried to hold it.
You held it down, babe. You did. Hey, Joycelyn, thanks for joining us tonight. Hey, Dale D. Hey, guys, we are at the end of our show, and we want to thank you for joining us tonight as we got newsy with you. We just wanted to just share some things that are, that we felt people, like we said, we felt is in the news and people aren't saying what they really want to say. So we got a chance to do it on He Said tonight. And if I may, if I can leave you with our words of the week, ladies and gentlemen, from the amazing Malcolm X. If you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. Ladies and gentlemen, that was from the amazing Malcolm X. And I want to thank you, Vosh, again for holding it down. Look at you. You just made it effortless and just kept everybody going. Thank the viewers for joining us tonight. Everybody who joined us on Let's Get Newsy. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week on our next episode of He Said.
He said.
He said. Y'all have a good night, ladies and gentlemen. We hope to see you soon. Thank you.